What's up, everyone? Today we're checking out fat snare drum sounds and tones. We're going to check out 5 different ways on how to get a fat tone out of your snare drum using some different techniques. I'm going to play the snare drum so you can hear what it sounds like without anything on it. There's no muffling on here at all. So notice how I'm not playing rim shots on the snare drum, and I'm doing this intentionally. Rim shots are great for getting that crack to cut through something, but they don't necessarily bring out the full body of the drum as hitting in the center of the drum. So the first technique we're going to check out is using rags or bandanas to muffle the snare drum. Basically, you're just taking the rag or the bandana and you're laying it across the whole drum like that. So the one thing to keep in mind with this technique is that this rag or this bandana could move around while you're playing, and it usually does. So a cool trick is to grab some of these binder clips. You can find these at a office supply store. You basically just clamp them onto the rim with the bandana underneath, and it keeps the bandana or rag from moving around while you play. And the other technique is that you can just take tape. It keeps the rag or whatever on the drum. So the only thing to keep in mind with the rag or the bandana technique is that the material thickness is getting between the attack of the stick and the plastic drum head. So you're going to get a softer sound. You're going to lose some attack, but that could be a good thing depending on what you're recording or playing. So the next technique is using O-rings, and these are plastic, and these ones are made by Evans, and it sits around the edge of the drum and takes away a lot of the overtones. I'm going to use about 5 of them, and these are different sizes. So the smaller ones are going to go closer and muffle more of the drum in the center of it. So the great thing about these O-rings is that they don't move around on the drum. The only drawback with this is that it is taking away the ring of the drum and it's focusing the sound, but it's not really making the drum a lot fatter. It's not lowering the pitch of the drum. The next technique is using a drum head and placing it upside down on the drum. This is a drum head that I actually cut the outside collar off of just for this technique. You could use a regular drum head with the collar still on it and just place it upside down on the drum like that, and it's going to lay perfectly flat. The only thing to be aware of is that you want a drum head that's the exact same size of the snare drum, so it fits perfectly across the whole drum. The cool thing about this is that it actually covers the whole surface of the drums. It lowers the pitch of the drum a little bit too, so check it out. So the only drawback with this method is that this drum head on top can move around while you're playing, and it usually does. So I guess you could tape it to the side of the drum. Or another idea is that you could pick up one of these things. This is a product made by Big Fat Snare Drum. It's basically the same concept as the upside down drum head. It's just a flat surface. There's no collar edge on it. It fits perfectly in the drum, and it does move around a little bit, but it's hitting the edge of the rim within the drum, so it's not going to fly up and fly out of the drum. It's going to stay on the drum. It sounds fat. It lowers the pitch of the drum. It's super reliable. So if you're playing a live gig and you put it in the drum, it's going to stay there for the remainder of the song. You don't have to worry about it flying off of the drum or anything like that. I've found that it doesn't muffle the drum quite as much as the upside down drum head. I'm not sure why, but you can hear that some of the overtones of the snare still do come through. And this can be a good thing or a bad thing depending on what your drum sounds like and how it's tuned. So I've had instances where this sounds fantastic because the drum has been tuned properly and it just works. I've had times when it doesn't work so well. The last method is using something that you probably already have at home, and that's paper. This technique is one of my favorites as of late because of how simple it is and how effective it is too. These are charts, actually. I probably shouldn't be using charts, but these are 2 pieces of paper each. So I'm going to take 2 pieces of paper and I'm going to put it on the snare. I'm going to play a beat, and then I'm going to keep adding these double layered pieces of paper to the drum. So check out how much the paper actually deadens the drum. It takes away the overtones, and it also lowers the pitch of the drum, and it makes it really fat. So as I was playing, you probably heard the pitch of the drum go down as I added more paper to it. Really cool effect. It does get to a point, though, where you actually have diminishing returns with the amount of paper that you're adding and the fatness of the drum. The other drawback with paper is that it does move around a lot when you're playing. So a workaround with that is just to tape it onto the drum with some duct tape. And the other drawback is that it's going to wear out in the middle. Obviously, it's paper and you're hitting it with a stick. So you're going to get a hole in the center of the drum, and that could affect the tone. But obviously, it's paper. You can replace it easily. So this method works probably best for recording when you have time to switch out paper. In a live setting, I probably wouldn't use this method since it takes a while to set up, and it's not very reliable in terms of the paper staying on the drum. So, but in the studio, it works really well. So there you have it. Please let me know in the comments below which techniques you thought sounded best. If I left out any techniques that you think work really well for doing this fat snare drum tone, please let me know in the comments below. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.